Well, it's got good meaning behind it for sure. It hits hard. It hit different. It hit different.
Oh man,
All right, let me set this timer up.
love this post.
What post?
This is a guy named Mason Silvis from 757. Dear black people, please start tipping your servers. No one owes you anything and you're not better than anyone. If you can't afford a tip, don't go out to eat with 12 of your equally disrespectful friends. Fuck you, love everyone with a soul.
Oh God.
If he had just,
Cuts deep.
if he had just said, dear people, or dear everybody, he would have been fine. But he just had to single out black people. I guess
Put a tag on there.
I guess he had a really bad table.
Well, that's how we're starting this one off today, guys.
Oh, you're recording?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So this is the All or Nothing show. I believe this might be episode 4. I believe. I didn't look before I got on here. That's definitely a rookie move. But this is another one, and a good one, because I got my man Sledge Gibson, a.k.a. Nicholas Nicoliath.
I'm glad we let off with that racist waiter thing.
And, yeah, we're going to be talking about what he's got going on. I know he has got a few things. Obviously, he's a normal human being. He works. But he's also trying to chase a goal or a passion, which is definitely cool, something that I'm all about, and that is wrestling. All right, guys, let's start this off. Let's crack it off with a good old-fashioned review, or just sippage. This is the Rockstar Pure Zero. I picked these up from Kroger on the way here. And listen to this. This might be on the next show if the budget is there. I almost got us, but I can't. You ain't worth $3 a drink. But I'm just messing. But there's these organic things, energy drinks, organic quote unquote, that I want to say Kroger sells $2.99 a can, when these are $1.03 a can. So I was like, dude, plus grape. What kind of better flavor than today? You know, I know it's gonna taste crisp.
So how much is it? Said $1 something?
$1.03. So if you have a Kroger card, it's $1.03. But if without, it's like $2.20.
So what I'm hearing is Kroger's on, well, not Kroger, Rockstar's on a downturn.
Definitely if they're giving them away. Yeah.
Because Bang and Rain are kind of the thing right now.
Yes, and their price tends to go up. Especially Monsters. Monsters used to be able to get two for like $3.50, or I don't remember what the deal was, but now it's like 2 for $4.50, $4.70. Every now and then the Sev throws a 3 buy 2 get 1 free, which is pretty good if you think about
How
that.
bad do you want your taurine?
I know, right?
Is that bull semen?
Bull semen.
It's not anymore though. Now they make their own. But back in the day,
They use their own semen?
well, no, they make their own taurine
Oh,
now.
okay.
They don't need bull semen anymore. They don't have
Is that for real where it came from?
Yeah,
How do you know?
podcast, man.
Okay.
Joe
Wait,
Rogan
you
talked
know-
about it. Joe Rogan's never wrong.
Is it Alex, what's the guy's name? The conspiracy theorist? Alex, not Trebek. Alec Trebek. That's,
That's not Trebek.
not Wheel of Fortune. Price is Right. No, Jeopardy. I can't think right now.
I
Man. I haven't cracked into this bad boy.
I feel like culturally speaking, you should
Alex.
know all these shows.
He's been on the Joe Rogan, and like people want to like kill him. He actually came. So Griffin, I just saw Griffin at the gym the other day.
Fit Griffin?
Fit Griffin. He is trim Griffin now. Have you seen his head? He buzzed the hair.
Last time I saw him was just November 9th at the first UEW show that he did the video
Oh,
for.
I was about to say, why are you remembering dates, man?
Because it was...
Okay, it was a show.
It was
okay.
UEW's debut show,
Okay.
and got Griffin to do the video.
Yeah, how'd that turn out? I haven't seen it. You must not have liked it because you didn't post it.
Oh, the video?
Yeah.
It was posted on the UEW, but look, I shared it on Facebook.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it.
Well, you don't look on my Facebook. Well, you do look on my Facebook. I
I
lied.
do. Yeah.
Okay.
But, so that's the last time you saw him. He had long hair back then, but he's trimmed it up. I call him John Mayer now because he looks like John Mayer. And plus, he serenades with his guitar. Have you seen him? He's pretty good at it.
I don't actively follow his acoustic career.
Well, he should pursue. Definitely. Your body is a wonderland.
So, are we going to open this?
Yeah, let's crack these bad boys. So, 0 sugar, 0 calorie. I believe so. Well, so, all right, before we move on, and maybe everybody's going to say I'm an idiot out there, how does this work? It has 1 carbohydrate, and tell me if I'm wrong, a carbohydrate is 4 calories, but there is 0 calories in this drink.
Well, you see, the way the FDA does it, within a certain percentage, you can claim things, whether
Yeah?
they be true or not, so long as they fall within a certain threshold. So it might not actually
man.
be 0 calories, but it's low enough for them to put 0 on it, because that's an actual thing.
Oh my god.
Just blowing your mind today.
It is, man. I'm glad I brought you on, man.
Well,
I might keep you around. I got a third mic.
Well, in that 45 minutes I was waiting in my car for you to get here, I had time to read.
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot in that almost hour.
Yeah, I made him wait for a hot minute.
But no, I like to read things.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you do, because I read, but I guess I just don't read the right stuff. Which I do like the fact that this is not your typical like Monster or Bang status. It's like kind of in between with 240 migs per can, not like 300 or not like 180. It's a little bit more. It's got a little more bump, but right on the front.
Oh, I saw. I was reading the nutrition spot.
Oh, damn. Well,
spot
keep
the
reading,
box.
man. You might blow my mind with something else.
I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, he was a powerlifter, said 250 milligrams of caffeine. Anything past that's kind of like your diminishing returns.
I think so, and it depends on I definitely think it depends on the user. So if you're somebody that has built up a huge tolerance or used it, 250 might not do much at all. I feel like sometimes Monster puts me to sleep. But if I crank out like some pre-workout that has 400, 450 megs, then I'm in that zone again. Plus, it has other exotic stimulants in there. So, but I do definitely think so. And what I have heard, which is weird, I need to look more into it, is that caffeine isn't truly a vasoconstrictor to a certain extent. It does have other aspects, or I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to think of it, but that actually vasodilate, or they don't vasodilate, but they relax the blood vessels actually.
Caffeine just suppresses the body's production of adenosine.
Yes.
Which is what makes you tired.
Oh my God! Look, let's look. This is Nick's show. This is Nick fitness and knowledge. We're gonna continue.
I'll
learning.
have you know, beyond the wrestling, before I started working out almost 4 years ago, I did 3 months of research before I actually went to the gym. So I just read a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Whether it was useful or not, it's just in there now.
Damn. I need to read more.
You should.
Are you reading or just doing podcasts? I do a lot of podcasts.
A lot of fitness podcasts, like Mark Bell's podcast.
Yeah.
Whenever Joe Rogan has a UFC guy, they usually talk about fitness.
I usually skip the MMA ones and do like the other weird ones. Like
I listen to them because they include their training and their diet, so it's interesting.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Did you watch the one about Game Changers? That was a long one and intense.
Where they had both guys.
Yeah, both guys.
The guy who came on before and said
Yeah.
everything was crap, and the guy what's his name? Anyway,
remember.
not important.
Yeah.
I listened to all 3.5 hours of it.
God,
It was great.
It was good. It was good. Like once I started listening, I was like, "Damn, this dude's like kind of tearing them up."
Well, yeah, Joe Rogan went back and took down the original podcast where the guy was trying to disprove Game Changers because
Yeah.
everything he said was wrong. So he took that one down after that.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was a whole thing. It was great.
I don't diss Joe for doing that, but like, if I put something out there, I'm gonna leave it.
Well, if it's not
And
put out there.
it's not making Joe look dumb. It's making Dude Man look dumb.
Well,
But I guess if it's your boy, though, you're gonna pull it down.
Well, somebody's going through the archives of Joe's podcast and it's like, I'm just going to listen to this and take it as fact. Nah. If it's just putting out false information, you just don't want to leave that out there in the ether.
Oh no, yeah. I guess if you truly know it's false, then yes, I would go pull it down. But he claims all the time he's just when they're talking, just like us on here. I mean, we're probably experts at least at what we're talking about at the current moment. So
I like to
we're
say,
just talking off of our mind.
I know a little about a lot.
Yeah, I know a lot of nothing actually.
That still counts.
Yeah, we're getting tags over here. But anyways, man, let's crack into this bad boy. I don't know where we are, but we're gonna crack. Ready? 3, 2, crisp. So these aren't ice cold because they have been sitting in the car.
It's winter. It's fine.
So get your swig, 1 to 5, after you feel like you got a good taste going. One more. Hold on. I don't know yet.
Culturally speaking, grape is grape to me.
Did you say grapette?
Grape is grape to me.
Grape is grape. Grape is great.
Yeah, they got that artificial grape flavor down.
Yeah.
But
I'm not digging the aftertaste to this. Like it's got it's not a long taste, but it's like a short second, at least to me, where I'm like, whoa.
It's about a similar. It's got that same energy drink weird feeling aftertaste, and that's always there for pretty much all of them. Red Bull, Monster.
Just grape is grape, though. Like you said. So for me, 1 to 5, out of all energy drinks that I personally have, it's getting a 2.8.
Oh, you do decimals?
Oh yeah. Well, 1 to 5, that doesn't give you much room. You know, a 1 to 2 is a huge jump, and a 3 to 4 is a huge jump.
That's fair. Then I'm gonna do 2.88 repeating.
Oh God, man!
Just the line.
Trying to ride my back, dude. Come on.
I mean,
well, I guess either that's a compliment because it's coming from a grape connoisseur, or either you just like my vote.
2020. That joke was racially ambiguous. I love it.
Oh man, well,
living my best life over here with my grape rock star. Good choice, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was watermelon.
Wasn't damn, they did have that flavor too. Watermelon. Damn. And by the way, yes, I did not pre-plan having purple drinks or grape drinks with my man Nick, but that's the way fate brought it because they were the cheapest and ones that I hadn't tried yet. So I'm glad I got to try it with you. Let's roll. We're rolling. All right, so
podcasting.
Obviously, I wanted to get on here, man, because I've been following you obviously for years. We met each other through the gym, and obviously you've moved on from just being that guy that's trying to like learn. I feel like you're very well rounded and knowledge. The more I talk to you, I'm like, damn, this dude knows a lot. Well, obviously because you listen to a lot and your brain's big. But so what are you doing now that you sort of you got a full-time job? What are you doing with wrestling now that you have sort of figured out that that's what you want to be doing? Like that is something you enjoy doing. How did First off, let's break it down to this.
Boom.
Why wrestling? What got you started? Was it young? You watched it on TV? What made you click to where I was like, damn, wrestling is what I want to do?
I'm weird in the fact that I watched wrestling as a kid, but not super a lot because Dad didn't really watch it. So it wasn't on in the house, but it was on at my grandparents' house. That's really the only time I watched it. But when I was a kid, there was an anime called Ultimate Muscle that came on Fox on Saturday mornings that was just an anime about wrestling. And I really enjoyed that. But that's not even what did it. At this point, I'd already started working out March 13th, 2016. 1 month later was WrestleMania 31 when Roman Reigns fought Brock Lesnar. And for some reason, my brain was like, while I was watching it, you're like, you know what? I could do that.
Yeah.
So I worked out for another 9 months. Found a wrestling school. There just happened to be one down the street from the Golds we trained at. And signed up. And that's about it.
So how old are you?
28.
28. Yeah, that's what I knew you were around me. So you never really, you said that was 2013 where it kind of really clicked for you. Obviously a little bit before that with the anime, but 2013 is what the date that you remember clicked for you. Like you never grew up when you were young. Like I remember when I was like 6, 7.
Click was 2016, sir.
2016.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I thought you said 2013. Look, I need to drink more of this.
That was almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. It's like, you know what? Give that a shot.
Hell yeah. Well, the thing is, like, me thinking of wrestling was, I guess, back in its golden era of, like, late 90s. I guess, like, almost like bodybuilding. Like, late 90s, early 2000s was, like, a golden era, I feel like, for wrestling when it was, like... It might be big now, no?
But wrestling is really big right now.
Well, definitely. It's grown. But, like, where you have all those super... Like, I don't know if you could go up to everybody and be like, hey, whoever's somebody that's new now... Which a lot of them are becoming like movie stars and whatever, or like doing a little bit of both. But you can go up to anybody and be like, "Yo, do you know who Stone Cold is? Do you know who, what's his name? Triple H. Everybody knows Triple H.
Those are those polarizing figures.
Yeah,
just
The Rock.
They transcend their medium, kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Rock. Everybody knows his name whether you watch wrestling or not. Stone Cold, same deal. You just know who he is.
And you call him The Rock. Even though that was his wrestling name, it's like you don't like nobody really calls him by his real name. I mean, obviously people do, but like he's The Rock.
His Instagram still says The Rock. It's just like it's what he's called.
Yeah, that's his brand.
It's him.
Yeah.
Cheap camera on Amazon, man.
You think I can find a camera cheaper than that?
You can buy a $90 camera off of Amazon that works just fine.
But that would like record longer?
Yeah,
Well, obviously if I hook it up right.
get the camera and an
The
SD
right
card.
software.
Like
What?
the one I got will record for 17 straight hours,
And it doesn't.
so long as the battery doesn't die.
Yeah. And you could plug it into a cord and keep it running. You know?
Yep.
Damn, because this one was like, well, it's my wife Sarah's, but it was like $300, and it doesn't really shoot video. It's mainly just for picture. Like, it doesn't even have autofocus on video. So like,
Oh yeah. No. Okay. Back to wrestling, I guess.
yeah. Well, anyways, I remember growing up when wrestling would come up on Saturdays. It'd be Saturday mornings, and or was it Sunday mornings? I don't really remember. They do it on Saturdays.
Both days.
Yeah, both days. Well, I guess I remember growing up watching on both mornings, and it'd be Stone Cold or what's the dude's name, Mr. Sacco. Do you remember him?
It's Mick Foley.
Mick Foley. That's it, with the flannel, and obviously Gold Dust, Goldberg, Rey Mysterio, all those big names. I mean, I'd consider them. Well, I guess since I just don't keep up with it, I consider them like Hall of Famers, but probably none of them are, except like the big names.
Oh, they'll all be once they all retire.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody is that is retired. There's a Hall of Famer that you just listed.
But you never grew up watching back then. You obviously watch it now, looking back, but like those weren't that wasn't the days when you were watching it.
I watch it more now than I did then.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I watched it in passing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because really, my dad had that wonderful black box, the steel cable with back in the day.
Good.
So he got free pay-per-views. So he used to record the wrestling pay-per-views for my grandparents because they loved it, and send the tape with them when we get the family functions. It was funny, and that's usually when I watched it when he was recording it, because it's not like he could change the channel.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to watch what you were recording.
Damn. I remember that. Yeah, you couldn't change the channel. Oh man. VHS, man.
You kids are spoiled.
God, yeah, hell yeah. You get Fire Stick now. You can watch movies that are in the movie theater now.
Your porn's on the internet. My porn was in the VHS box.
Oh yeah, and if you wiggled the cable wires just right, or you went to that channel like 70 when channels only went up to like 12 or 13 anyways, and you clicked it all the way up to 70 and get like a little gray, that almost looks like a tit. I don't know. I can hear it a little bit.
It might be a boo, but this might just be static. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, I have to say, like, I would think for most people they see it when they're young like that, and then that's when it clicks. But it clicked much later for you.
Yeah, it's unconventional. Like whenever I hear wrestlers' interviews, it's always like I was a huge fan since I was a kid when I was like 6, and I saw it. It's like, yeah, me a little different.
That's what I think about, like, because the Mark Bell story. Or Mark and what's his name? Not Smelly, because that is Mark. His other brother's name. Chris. Yeah, their story of like growing up doing wrestling moves when they were little kids, and that's how they got hooked into it. I guess that's what I sort of picture in my head.
I was a late bloomer in my interest in actually being a wrestler.
So, all right, 2016, you realized that you started looking around for gyms. You found a gym close to home, and then also the gym as well. So, once you got into the wrestling gym, how long did it take to really realize that, like, hey, man, I'm training for this now. This is actually pretty cool. Obviously, you already had an enjoyment or like attraction to it before because you looked up for gym. But obviously, how long did it take to really get in there and like realize that you could actually do something with it, even though you might not be as far off as you want to at the moment? Like, do you realize like, hey, I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to continue doing this. Like, did it first day you were like, hey, this is it?
Let's see, when did I realize I was doing all right? Last September. I can't remember specifically what it was. But I was like, you know what? I'm doing all right.
Hell yeah. Dude, every time I see you post, I'm like, damn. Even though I know everybody's their own worst critic, and I mention this a lot, but every time I see you post, you're like, oh, going to this event, going to that event. And it may not be big to you, but like, obviously if you could reflect back, it's like, damn, dude. This all just started off as like an idea. And now you're getting to like travel for it, regardless of whether you're getting paid for it or making income from it, or obviously building your brand and your following off of it. It just started off as an idea, and it's like all possible. You know.
Maybe the only thing I've actually followed through with besides the actual working out. Like
Yeah.
working out and getting fit and wrestling is like maybe the only two things I actually followed through on. Didn't finish college. 2 years, didn't finish.
Fuck. And I don't blame you. Good for you. I'm actually glad you didn't, because you would have wasted more time.
Oh yeah, I think about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
if I had just done something, what would I be doing if I finished college? Be working at some weird IT firm, just sitting at a desk.
Probably still wishing that you were wrestling.
Maybe, or just like working a 9 to 5, coming home to my white wife and just hating life.
Well, so getting back to like the correlation of like the gym and wrestling, those two go hand in hand, right? But I also see, especially maybe even not in the pro as much, even in the pro though. Like when I'm saying pro, like big leagues, WWF. Is it called? Is it F or E?
E.
E. God.
World Wildlife Foundation took WWF from them. That's why it changed.
Ah, damn! I never thought about like that. Okay. Well, they slept on the trademark.
Yeah, well, nowadays you got places like WWE,
Yeah.
New Japan, and well, it's in Japan, MLW, it's Major League Wrestling. You got Ring of Honor.
I heard Mexico's big now. Do they have a federation down there?
Mexico's always been big for wrestling.
Yeah.
Where luchadors come from, man.
Nacho Libre.
You got Impact Wrestling as well.
Yeah.
AEW, which is on TNT. You might have seen that.
Yeah. No, I have. For real. Yeah.
Wrestling is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah,
It's
for
great.
real. It's crazy. So what's the deal? Why doesn't everybody, and maybe you know, or maybe you just have no clue, why doesn't everybody in wrestling want to be jacked or look jacked and fit? Is it because they're trying to find a niche and be like that overweight, like sloppy dude that like comes in, butterbean looking guy, and try and like take the show? Or because you see, especially around some of the pictures that I've seen you post around maybe other competitors or whatever that you're wrestling against, it doesn't look like maybe they're maybe taking their training seriously on the back end.
Yeah, it's just laziness.
Laziness.
It's
okay.
not like
Well, obviously there's different breeds of like wrestlers.
some
There's
of
like
them build a character around their weight.
that's what I'm saying.
Which is
yeah.
which if you're not going to go to the gym, that's what you need to do. But in most cases,
ASAP.
it's just they don't want to work out.
Yeah.
Because if I ever go to a wrestling seminar or some training camp or whatever, one thing they always say is, get in shape. Most of them don't.
Well, it would blow, like, I would think it would blow my mind if I walked in and I was wrestling or at a training camp with you and I'd just gotten into it, maybe a little out of shape, maybe got some moobies, a little belly, whatever, and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's got abs and jacked, and I'm sure you do get more attention because of the way you look. Not because, I mean, obviously your personality and your character comes off as a very like great performance as well, but your look also attracts the attention as well. I'm sure people are like, yo, that dude's jacked.
Yeah, it's a business.
He's gonna whoop some ass today.
It's a business predicated on, well, appearance.
Yeah.
Looking the part does help, especially if you're in independent wrestling. Like if you're in WWE or like a major promotion, like I'm 6'4", but I'm only like between 198 and 206 on any given day. So I'm
Maybe
not.
bump those numbers up.
Well, I'm billed at
I'm
225.
just
It's
kidding,
fine
man.
because I look bigger than I actually am.
No, I mean you do.
Genetics.
Yeah.
I don't have to be heavy to look heavy. Oh, I forgot what I was saying. Something
Well,
about-
no, just talking about people being in shape.
Oh,
And
absolutely. I was actually really surprised when I started wrestling how many people actually are out of shape in wrestling. Like I was told when I started that I would be like in the top 5% of, I guess, athleticism as far as build goes.
yeah, dead serious.
And then I was like, as time went on, I was like, huh. Okay, abs is a rare thing to see in wrestling, apparently.
Well, dude, you would think, I mean, if you reversed engineered it, I don't know, if I walked in and you would think your competition, especially after being in a few matches with you, training with you around you, I'd be like, damn, I'm competing against this guy. And I look like schlob. I better tighten up my diet. Especially if I want to, like, why are you going to do it if you're not going to take it, like, do it 100%, you know? Especially, you know, wrestling. I understand it might be just fun or, like, a hobby for some, but, like, if you truly deep down feel like you want to be doing it, like, you better be covering the back end as well, dieting, staying in shape. You know, because not only looking the part, but you actually probably feel the part. You're probably able to, like, outperform cardio-wise most of these dudes, and that's probably why you're able to outperform and win a lot of your matches, because, like, most of these dudes are probably huffing and puffing about to stroke out. No?
Stroke out.
Yeah, dude. I've seen them. Some of them.
Well, wrestling conditioning is weird because you could actually be look out of shape and still be well conditioned for ring.
Yeah.
Because it's like a whole different thing than just regular cardio. Like you could run laps all day and still get blown up in a wrestling ring. Because that's whole body stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you do CrossFit, you might be able to. You might be all right in a lot of burpees. That's the closest thing to actually wrestling. Burpees, box jumps, kettlebell swings mostly.
Yeah.
That'll get you conditioned. Besides that, actually wrestling will get you in shape.
Dude, I just thought of this as you were talking about it. You were training a little bit before as a side gig, right? You were training, personal training?
Yes.
So why don't you, and I don't mean to interrupt you, let's talk a little bit about it, but why don't you start up a wrestling camp and like train, like group training for it? Like you start a page, and this is on the air, like, so obviously start it soon. Somebody else is going to jump on that. Me. I'm just kidding. But, you know, start up, you know, with all these dudes. I'm sure they would want to be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what type of workouts are you doing? Like, you could easily start a little boot camp, like, around, not obviously infringing on the federation's, you know, copyrights and all that stuff, but, like, starting your own business. Be like, hey, I'm, you know, maybe cross-promoting and doing something like that. I don't know. I just think you could definitely train some of these dudes. I'm sure if I looked out of shape like some of them do, like, damn, what is Nick doing? Teach me the way. I want to get better. I'm being honest.
See, I'm the kind of guy that always feels bad for charging for knowledge because I feel like it should be available to everybody.
Of course, and you don't.
But I understand.
Well, especially if you did it in like a boot camp style, you didn't have to charge much, just enough for your time. Literally $5 a head, whatever. Just enough to like either cover the cost of like renting the place. I think that would just, even if you did it for free, just maybe covering the cost of however much it would be to rent the room or the space for that time that you were doing it, or you could just do it in a park for free and do it for free. And not only that, that would help your brand out too. People would like be reaching out to you. You would cause like, you would have the leverage because, I don't know. I just feel like it'd be something you could do and definitely make a little side hustle out of it as well. I don't think there's any shame in, you know, charging for your time and knowledge. You've built up a lot of time. Obviously, you've gained a lot of fucking knowledge. So I definitely think, you know, that time is valuable. Valuable.
Words? I don't know words good. Valuable. Words. Sorry, I was making fun of you.
Yeah, I know.
It's all love. Yeah, I do get hit up all the time. If anybody who works out who looks in shape probably gets hit up all the time for fitness advice from people.
Yeah.
Problem is, most people will hit you up for it. You'll do stuff for a little bit, but then they usually won't follow through because.
Well, not everybody's about it. Some people talk it.
It's usually what I run into with most people I work with as far as fitness goes. They'll start, but then they quit off.
They don't realize that it's just, you got to be all in for real. It sucks. Like I've been doing it. I've been lifting for 10 years, but like being all in, maybe the past like 2 years, 3 years, like really training like I should be, really eating like I should be, you know, if you aren't doing it all and like really, it's not going to be fun.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I saw gains really fast. That's just genetics, though. Like, I had a V-taper in 2 weeks of working out, but that's just, well, black genetics. If I'm being honest, that's black genetics. And I have an uncle named Rodney, who was a professional bodybuilder once upon a time. And his son, who actually his name's also Nick, played in MLB. So it's there in my family, so that's just one thing.
Yeah.
But if you're a hard gainer, I could see how that could get frustrating. Or if you're just overweight, how that could also get frustrating.
So have you traveled a lot for wrestling? Like when I know you traveled up and down the East Coast a little bit. Like, have you been traveling like hard though? Like, tell me a little bit about it.
Traveling.
Where have you been recently? You know what? Before you start this, I'm gonna restart that camera.
You should restart the camera.
God damn it.
You know, I do offer my services as video production.
Oh, so now you want to charge me? I'm just messing.
I wouldn't charge you. You're a friend, so I'd help you out.
Man. I'd love your help and knowledge. You don't have to do anything though, and I would definitely hook you up.
Yeah.
Hand job, whatever, a little tug.
We're not
whatever.
No roadhead over here.
I'm just messing.
I just burned this grape.
Damn, dude. Well, before the camera turned off, what about traveling? Where have you been recently? Like, do you have a lot of bookings ahead of you?
Right now, yes. Still have some slots to fill up because it's a little sporadic.
Yeah.
Because I was trying harder this year to be booked out more in advance. sometimes.
How do you do that? Like, how do you just... Obviously, I see you throw it out on Facebook, but, like, besides knowing promoters and, like, being friends with them on social media, like, how do you just reach out? Does word about you get out there? Like, how does it happen?
Getting booked in wrestling is a grind in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because, well, you find all these promotions, you got to find who the booker is, unless you want to message the page directly. In which case, you would just see something along the lines of, hey, who would I contact for a booking?
Yeah.
Some sort of way like that. Then you contact them, and they get a bunch of messages
I believe it.
of people trying to get booked. So the next
But
day,
most of them are schmucks. They look like... I mean, unless there's, like, freaks out there that look good.
it's true. It's just...
So I feel like if you can have, like, a good picture to front with that, like, hey, who do I have to talk about booking? You're just throwing, like, you're pulling up your shirt in the picture. You're just like, who do I talk about booking?
Just a really aggressive ab shot. I did do that once when I had my Ring of Honor tryout last year, and they asked for pictures. I just sent them. I did send them a promo picture for wrestling, but then the rest were just like straight gym pictures.
Oh, they should. I think that would be best for sure.
But yeah, it's just
You
like
look, I mean, no homo. You look good.
it's 2020, man. Sexuality is a spectrum.
Oh,
Nothing's-
dude, I'm
nothing's gay
fluid, man. I'm fluid.
It's fine. No one
I'm just messing.
live
But,
your best life. But yeah.
So have you ever had anybody reach out to you?
Oh yeah, I've had people
Hell
hit
yeah.
me up for bookings. That's a thing.
That's sick.
But as far as getting my own bookings, yeah, it's a bit of a grind. Because there is a overabundance of male wrestlers. Not all of them are good. Not all of them look athletic or even in shape. But that's
Do they ever take into consideration, like, your history? Like, do they ask, like, does it ever matter how many matches you've won or, like, how many matches you've been in? Like, what is the criteria that they're usually looking for? Do you know?
it depends on the promotion. Like a major promotion, like ultimately would be, are you marketable and can you make the money? Like,
Gotcha.
but a regular, just a standard indie promotion would it's more like, what's your work look like and what do you look like?
Yeah. And will you actually show up?
Are you a face or a heel? How much do you charge? How much you charge is a big thing too.
Yeah.
Because if you're talented and cheap, you can get booked no problem.
Well, and you also don't want to devalue yourself because then maybe word gets out, oh, he's only that much, and they start talking about how much you might have charged for that show, and they're like, oh, I don't know. I would go high and then be like, if they said no, then be like, oh, well, for this first show, I'll do it for X. I'll throw a high number. This is what I would do. I don't know if you've ever done it, but I'd be like, oh, for example, $100. And if they say no, all right, well, for this first show, I'll do it for 70 though. Or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are. You don't have to say, but
I haven't done that, but
I don't know. Maybe it's worth a shot. I don't fucking know. Call
usually
it
my first time somewhere, it's always lowballed. I'll do it for gas money.
No, that's decent though, because you're still getting like experience out of it. Hopefully, you're getting a few pictures or videos, and people are just seeing your brand out there. Obviously.
Yeah, I like to record my stuff.
Yeah.
Haven't posted anything on Instagram in a while though.
Come on, my man.
I'm slacking. I'm sorry.
I feel like TikTok would be good for that. I don't feel like people are probably posting wrestling footage to that yet. You could be like the main wrestling guy on TikTok.
Wrestling's mostly Twitter. It's
Fuck Twitter. Twitter's old, man.
like 80%,
TikTok.
It's 80% Twitter as far as
Yeah, I don't
wrestling
see much
goes.
on Instagram. I don't obviously follow a lot of wrestlers. There's actually a guy down in Georgia. He takes our shit. He's a wrestler down there. I don't know what federation, but that's the only other guy that I'll probably follow for wrestling besides The Rock.
Besides, he doesn't wrestle anymore though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
It doesn't even count.
Who else? Like, what's? I don't know. I feel like I saw somebody that just wrestled like a celeb, like
Like Dave Arquette, the actor.
might have been. I saw something on my Instagram. But anyways, so as far as like, have you ever gone? What's the furthest you traveled for wrestling though?
For wrestling, New York. That was an 8-hour drive. We drove back the same night.
Yo.
But in April,
Well, I doubt in the bookings they're like, hey, we're putting you up in the hotel and everything.
I did get offered that once.
That's sick.
For a show in Tennessee. They never got back to me. So, doesn't count. But I
But
do,
still, you got the offer though. That's sick.
That was
So
cool.
the potential's there.
But I
for sure.
do have 2 shows in Tampa in April during WrestleMania weekend, which
I heard.
is cool.
I heard like down south is big, like Texas, Florida.
Well, especially
Georgia?
WrestleMania weekend, because whenever WrestleMania week is happening, all your various indie promotions will go down to that state and run shows, because, you know, you
Around
got
it.
the biggest collection of wrestling fans
Yeah.
in one place.
Oh, dude, smart.
So that's usually always going on. So there's a bunch of wrestlers down there, too, looking to work.
Yeah.
But I will be on 2 shows that weekend, on, I think it's the 3rd and the 4th of April. So I will be in Tampa from like Thursday till Monday during that week.
That's pretty sick, though. Are you going to be able to catch any other big shows while you're down there?
I don't know. Might.
Yeah.
Buy a ticket and go watch.
Shit. I don't know. I'm not into that scene, so I wouldn't know how you get to like the know somebody, because I feel like that's a game where you definitely like you bump into somebody, you meet somebody, and they're like, oh, dude, I know a guy, and the next thing you know, it just like chain reacts to where you can.
Yeah, it's the entertainment business. So like anything else, it's mostly just who you know.
Yeah.
So you can be the best wrestler in the world, but if nobody knows who you are, it doesn't
hell
matter.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
So you just need to know people.
So, as far as like with traveling, obviously you got shows booked up. You try and book them out pretty far in advance, which I've seen you've been booked like for one time. I saw you had like every weekend booked for like 6 months.
I did pretty good for the last 6 months of
Yeah.
2019. That was good. Every weekend, pretty much.
So in the meantime, while you're booking shows, like, how often are you training for wrestling though?
Usually every week. At least once a week, if not twice.
At that same gym?
Time permitting. Oh, no. School I trained at originally closed like 4 months into me being there.
Nice job, guy.
But 4 months into me being there, it closed, and
Yeah.
a fellow named Robert Cropper, who runs a promotion called Classic Pro Wrestling, let us use his ring to get reps in. And then the greatest independent wrestling ref of all time, who is now in WWE UK as a referee full-time, Chris Sharp, showed up and trained us for a year. So that was really fortunate, because if that hadn't happened, I probably would have stopped wrestling.
Yo, so where's this school at?
This particular place, this was out in Ladysmith, Virginia. But the one that closed was off Williamsburg Road, like right down the street from the old Libertum.
Well, have you ever heard of a guy, because my dad, we grew up, well, he had a house in King William, and he said all the time that his neighbor right down the street was a WWE, or back then WWF, referee.
Was it Earl Hebner?
I don't know, but it was in King William, near Route 30.
Yeah, it's the Hebners.
Okay. Yeah, because he used to live, my dad had a house, and like literally maybe way less than an eighth of a mile, maybe 300 yards, he was like, yeah, he's a WWF wrestler. We got to go, or not wrestler, referee. We got to go, you know.
That's the Hebners.
Okay, shit. So are they doing anything with wrestling anymore? Do you know?
Earl Hebner is a referee in AEW, which is on TNT.
Yeah.
And Dave's just chilling.
Were they ever any wrestlers? They just ref.
As long as I've known, they just refed. Might have wrestled at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Sure. Well, okay. Yeah, we ain't trying to creep on the guy.
Let's not be creepy on the guy.
Well, so you're training maybe once, twice a week. How do you regimen your training? Like, do you know what you need to be training for, or you just sort of go in there and do a little bit of everything? Do you have somebody, like a training partner, or you just go in there and roll around?
I got the people that I've trained with for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Good old friends of mine, Miss Amber Dabney, a.k.a. Jordan Blade, Leo Kirby, real name Logan.
Okay.
Putting his government out there, his paycheck name. Mr.
Shout
Travis
out.
Ray, a.k.a. Ray Vex, that's his wrestling name.
Yeah.
This is primarily who I train with.
What's the coolest wrestling name you heard? Besides Sledge Gibson.
My name's goofy as hell. But
What's like the coolest you're like, man, in the indie circuit, obviously, not in like the big times.
the coolest,
You're like, damn, that shit's dope.
oh, it's got Casey Navarro, pretty cool name.
That does sound good. Sounds like Dave Navarro from Alice in Chains. Not Alice in Chains. Damn. I'm butchering it. Oh my god. Jane's Addiction.
There you go.
Yeah. What's the weakest name you've heard? You're like, dude, that's a clown ass name.
The weakest name in wrestling.
Well, you don't have to blow somebody's spot out.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm not.
What to tell me later?
Wrestling's a very tight knit community. I try not to talk crap about people.
Yeah.
If I can.
Well, I'm sure there's some weak ones out there. Mine would probably be weak.
Is it just gonna be Austin Page?
I don't know. I feel like I'd have to do something with Paige, because Diamond Dallas Page, and I don't know. Paige just rings a bell. Maybe Page Master. I don't know.
That's a movie.
It is Macaulay Culkin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched it growing up. Anyways, speaking of Diamond Dallas Page, I just watched a podcast the other day with him and Joe Rogan. Wild that he's like, I almost want to try his yoga now. I watched it.
I've thought about it,
Yeah.
just for the sake of stretching and for recovery, because wrestling's hard on the body,
Dude.
So
well, I mean, I listened to his story. I was like, God damn.
for most of January, except for the 18th where I went to a seminar,
Yeah.
I didn't wrestle at all because I was taking a break for the month. just for the sake of recovery.
Yeah.
Which is cool because all my lifts went up.
Well, I bet.
Immediately got stronger.
So when you're doing all the extra training, I'm sure you're burning calories and your muscles really just don't get any time to relax or like rest.
Oh no, because I work out 6 days a week and then I wrestle on the weekends. So
Yeah.
I'm sure my body's slowly just decaying at this point.
What's your roughest? Do you have like a time where you were like, "Fuck, I might have blown some shit on this move or like that day or this match"? You recall like a match where you were like, "Yo, I might be fucked."
Oh, well, again, harken back to November 9th when UEW had their debut. And the owners...
The one that Griffin filmed?
Yeah,
Is it on film?
it's on film.
Hell yeah!
I have those matches on my
Show
phone.
it to me.
But
I'm gonna throw a link to that video in the description below, by the way, so we can watch Nick blow his shit.
it's my best friend's promotion, and it was the debut show. It was a tournament, and I wrestled 3 times that night. And in the second match, I made the great decision to let him suplex me on the hardwood floor.
Oh, my man!
Which, it felt fine. I mean, there's a method to it so you don't die. Which I did it right. Everything was fine. I was okay that day. Then everything set in the following day, and I was like, oh, that was a whole lot of bad decisions.
Gravity came back and told you what's up, dude.
Yeah. So I didn't work out for a couple days because I was like, I can't.
Oh,
I was like,
I feel like it'd be tough to suplex you.
no, nah, man. It's like live combat theater. It's
Yeah.
teamwork, bro.
Well, I guess so. Like, I feel like there's a lot of moves since you're so long that like you would have to help out a lot with, especially for somebody that's short.
No, that guy was fairly strong though. He was
Yeah.
short and stocky. Look, it's wrestling. You help out. Was that a shutter? That was weird.
Yeah, I think my camera turned off again.
For the longest time, I hated the sound of my own voice because I was like, man, I really sound like that.
Well, me too. I realized that my deviated septum, my sister dropped me on my face when I was really young, broke my shit, and I just never got it fixed. Makes my voice sound really nasally. So I hate it. And I never realized it until I record myself or I listen to this, and I'm like, man, I'm going to end it all.
You know, if you really think about it, I'm going to blow your mind right here.
What's up?
Take a second to think. You've never actually seen your own face. And you never will. You've seen reflections of your face, but you've never seen your face. So you can never actually see your own face.
Unless I pull it off, like
Yep.
face off.
Yeah, unless you do that, but you will never actually see your own face. So who
Why are you
knows?
getting so deep?
This is what I think about on the road on long trips. Because I usually don't go places by myself most of the time. Unless I do ride by myself, in which case it's just straight Joe Rogan podcast. Because one's over and you're already home because it's been 3.5 hours.
Dude, I can go like speaking of those podcasts, like I'll start one, especially like a 2-hour, 3-hour jam, and that'll last me like a week because I'll watch like 45 minutes here, and I'll go back watch another 45 minutes of it, and then like, so I got a lot of catching up to do because he's got a lot of fucking episodes. But
I've got 8 episodes banked up right now, but I don't know. Like my majority of my content consumption is podcast, books, YouTube, and Netflix.
is that wild? Like I was talking, might have been Jamie, might have been Brock and Maddie, but I was talking to one of them, and just like you, I don't really watch. I watch TV. Only reason I watch TV is because Sarah, I guess, puts on either like South Park or The Office, or sometimes if like Family Guy's on, I'll watch that. But I don't really watch it to watch it. I just watch it because it's on. I consume so much through my phone. It is insane. Like YouTube might as well be cable. Like it's cable for me. Like it's
That's why
like,
they have YouTube TV, so you can pay for channels that you want.
oh yeah. Well,
Kind of like Slingbox.
I got YouTube for free though, so
Yeah, unless you want
and
to
I
pay
can
the premium.
swipe it up to my TV and watch it through that.
I overpay for cable internet because,
Well, the only reason we still have cable is because we have the combo pack with Wi-Fi.
yeah.
So supposedly if we got rid of the TV, the cable box, and just kept with Wi-Fi, it would like shoot it through the roof.
That's what they told me. And that's when you tell them, I'll just cancel the whole thing. Well, hold on, don't do that.
Yeah.
You can get basic,
Yeah.
and we'll drop the price down. Which is probably what I'm going to do because I don't watch it.
Yeah, no, I watch literally three channels. That's it. Shark Tank. Like I said, Shark Tank, Family Guy, and South Park.
I watch USA and TNT and I guess Access TV.
Yeah.
Because they all broadcast wrestling. Aside from that,
Didn't CBS do it? No?
No.
Thought like CBS had like a sports channel or something like that. Or no. ESPN did. They don't do wrestling, right?
Occasionally they might cover a wrestling story if something random happens, but because
Somebody dies or kills their family.
Jesus,
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, guys.
I got dark.
Yeah.
Chris Benoit fans out there.
Or I just watched the video again the other day because somebody mentioned it. Not Chris Benoit, but died. Which he did die.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero. That video. That shit sucks to watch, man. Dude dying on TV. Just like Owen Hart, but like worse. Because like you can see. I don't need to talk about it anymore, but my man penned a dead man.
You worried about me?
He penned a dead man.
You worried about me getting philosophical? You're just getting dark.
Yeah, I need to stop. Yeah, we're moving on.
Gracious.
Speaking of wrestling, let's keep it dark. Since you're out there in the circuit a little bit, and I'm sure maybe you see some freaks out there. Maybe a lot of sloppy guys too, but sloppy. What about the drugs, man?
Drugs.
Anybody that's out there taking them? Some PEDs?
Of course I do. I'm not gonna out anybody.
Yeah.
Because
is it pretty often to see though for wrestling? You think?
Independent wrestling? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, not at the independent level. No.
I mean, I'm sure you see some freaks out there where if you've been traveling, like you're like, damn man, that motherfucker's stacked and jacked.
Look. I don't really see a lot of jack guys going around in wrestling most of the time.
I thought maybe if you travel a little bit, maybe you saw them.
I do. I've seen a few. It's a rare occurrence, though.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, wrestling's just weird. I was under the impression that everybody who wrestled was in shape or, like, built like a superhero or looked like one.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least. Found out that wasn't true. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
No.
But I was just under that impression when I was younger. Because whenever I did watch wrestling when I was a kid, at times I was like, everybody was just huge.
Yeah, and they were.
Like,
some of them still are. When they come to the gym in Richmond, some of the motherfuckers are big, some bitches. Like, then some of them might be soft still, but like they're still just big dudes, like 6'5", 6'6", 270, 250. You know,
well, a lot of them get recruited from other sports, like because WWE will actually recruit people from strongman, powerlifting competitions, football, because they apparently, from what I've been told, they do scout football players as well when they go out. So,
oh, dude, but that'd be like a perfect transition though. Like, once your career's over in that, start wrestling, or just tired of football, you just get out of that shit.
I'm starting to see that a lot now. Like Rob Gronkowski wants to be a wrestler now.
I did see that,
which is cool because
he's got a extra personality though. You know?
Oh yeah, just be Rob Gronkowski. It'd be fine.
Yeah, no, that's the character. But I feel like he'd be like a young Stone Cold. He'd come out, crush some beers, and try and put his hat on backwards like a frat dude, and just try and.
It's only one Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think that character's that would work now.
Oh no.
In 2020.
Nah.
Because a football player got fined for just cracking beers and dropping them on his helmet the other day, last week. That was in playoffs.
Didn't see it.
Some fans just threw him some beer and he just cracked him and just did this. Didn't drink it.
Yeah.
And he got fined $14,000.
In pro?
Yeah.
I feel like 14 isn't like for them. Like 14's like $5, 14 grand. It's like, oh, he penalized me $5.
If he loses all his money, he'll be like, man, I sure wish I had.
Oh, I wish I had that $14,000
back.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'd probably do it, just because like imagine like. Everybody would respect you after that. I would. I'd be like, damn, that dude's badass.
I thought it was cool. I didn't think he'd get fined for it. He ain't drink it.
Well, that ain't cool. Just pouring out beer.
Listen, you never waste alcohol.
Nah.
That's a rule. I don't really drink much, though.
Well, you can't when you're fucking trying to be jacked and shredded. Jack tan and shredded.
Now I kind of drink on occasion.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I try to, if I'm going to drink, I'd prefer to drink just straight liquor.
Henny?
Whiskey.
Okay.
I'm not even. I didn't even think about it. You said Henny. You looked at me like.
No, dude, I wasn't cutting like man.
You were trying to see. Huh? I was like, nah. Oh, whiskey.
Oh, what are you drinking for whiskey though? For real? What's your brand?
Oh, it's Jack.
Jack. Oh yeah, Jack.
Or Jim Beam. Either is fine.
Like, you mixing it or are you drinking it straight?
I'll drink it straight. I stopped drinking for a while because one time I was watching Goodfellas,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I hadn't realized that I drunk through the entire bottle.
Oh shit!
And I was only like halfway through the movie. I was at the point where he was beating the guy up in the driveway for hitting his wife.
Oh,
I was like, oh man, and I was all fine until I tried to stand up, because that's when it hits you and the blood starts circulating.
oh hell
again.
yeah! That's how it usually does for
I was
me
like,
too.
oh man, I'm not
Me and
sober.
Sarah will be drinking on the couch, and we'll be like 2 bottles of wine in or whatever, and next thing you know, I stand up to go take a piss. I'm like, whoa, it's almost time for bed. I'm drunk.
And I try not to drink too much because I try to stay relatively lean. I've been like sub 10% body fat for
No, you've kept it lean, dude.
like 2.5 years or
Yeah.
something.
Even when you did like a little bulk, you stay pretty lean. I remember.
I hate bulking so much.
Yeah.
Mostly
Me too,
'cause
man.
I just look fat.
I blow up in the wrong places for sure. When I like bulk, quote unquote, or like just trying to eat extra shit, it just seems like I get tit fat and handles.
It doesn't go to my legs or calves or anything.
That's exactly it.
Just cultivates. I cultivate mass in my torso.
Literally.
Like I still have abs, but it's just like a trace of abs. Just enough to say you're in shape. I hate it. I think the heaviest I got since working out was 211.
Yeah.
And that was like, I found out through dieting that I at least need 4,000 calories minimum to gain weight. Aside from that, I'm just going to float between 198 and 206.
That's about where I'm at.
Depending on water retention.
What are you at right now? What are you tracking? Like, what's your calorie right now? Do you know?
I'm not tracking anything right now.
I'm tracking. I've been tracking like, it's the first time I've been tracking in about a year. And right now I'm at 3,500 and my weight's been the same.
Like
201, 200, 201. And I started tracking at 3,200 and I started adding in a little bit, but I'm feeling like I probably won't start gaining weight because my weight still, even though I've added calories and calories, my weight still hasn't moved. I feel like it'll probably be around like 4,000 calories before my weight probably actually like moved.
Yeah, that's what it is for me. 4,000 calories a day.
Which is a fuck ton of food. I mean, it is, especially if you're just doing rice and chicken. It's a fuck ton of food.
I generally eat red meat. I'm only eating chicken now because I don't get paid till tomorrow.
I want to keep it real.
Well, if you're trying to eat healthy but don't have a lot of money at the time because
I'll
you haven't
do
been paid
chicken
yet,
breast all day.
you can buy packs of chicken for like $4.50 at Kroger. I buy a chicken tenderloin because you get the whole pack of 12 strips for $5 a piece. Buy 5 of those, it's $25.
Hell yeah.
I like to cut it up. And
then when you're doing red beef, dude, you get a pound for like $6 maybe, if you're going lean.
I mostly do red meat because most of the chicken that we eat in America is fed on the soy diet, so it's kind of nutrient deficient as far as chickens go. So
I believe kind of it all is. I mean, red meat I feel like maybe has definitely some more than chicken in general, but like I feel like the turkey, the chicken, probably even the fish, like it's probably all just fucking, you need to be taking extra vitamins on top of that shit.
Turkey is the worst meat protein source that exists, but
it is, well, not only taste wise, but probably yes.
Ideally, red meat's where to go. I do eat pork, not often.
Ooh.
On occasion.
It's that devil's meat.
I don't know. My dad said it was a filthy animal, not for any religious reasons, but just because.
It is a filthy animal, dude. Those things are sick bastards.
According to him, I haven't actually researched it or anything. It's just what he said, and I was like, I'll believe you. He said, pork is the only meat that exists that actually already has maggots in it.
Yeah.
And if you put it in a container by itself, it will sprout maggots.
Oh shit.
Without flies.
I don't know if I heard about that, but I just know that they eat each other. They eat their own shit. Sometimes they'll eat anything. You throw like this can in there, they'll eat that shit. They're like sharks.
Well, yeah. A lot of chicken places they usually sand down the beaks of the chickens. Not for any inhumane reasons, but because if they didn't, they'd kill each other.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's tight quarters, so they get really hostile. Because science shows that when a lot of people are put in close proximity, they tend to get violent. I think it was a German experiment. They put a bunch of rats in cages stacked on top of each other because they had a belief that people in the projects were more violent than most people because of the close proximity they lived to other people. So they tried an experiment with the rats. So they had rats that were spaced out and rats that were kept in close quarters, like project buildings.
Yeah.
And the ones in the project quarters ultimately killed each other, while the ones who were spaced out were fine. Apparently, it's just a thing with mammals that we can't be really tight knit, close to each other.
I can see that because like when I lived when I'm living, like, let's say, for example, I lived in Tappahannock where we were living in a house, and obviously I was living with either my stepfather or my mom back there, but, like, everybody's a little bit more happy-go-lucky instead of being in, like, when we were living on First and Gray Street where everybody was stacked on top of each other downtown. If you walked outside or just talked to the neighbors, everybody was kind of, like, pissed off every day, like, you know, not only do I think that just being cramped up, people just don't like being cramped like that, but also I think deep down getting back to it, maybe even not just animals, but people in general are like territorial. Like, you want your own shit.
But back to dieting, though, which is what we were talking about before we traipsed off. But right now, though, I'm intermittent fasting, so like just like at 198 because my wrestling train starts again in February 1st.
Tell me a little bit about that, intermittent fasting. Like, for you particularly, I don't know much about it. I don't know the true science behind it. I know how it kind of works, but obviously I know what fasting is. But intermittent fasting, so obviously you're doing it sporadically, quote unquote, or on some type of schedule, but you're taking time on, time off of it. How are you doing it?
Like for me, well, most people do the 8-16 method, which is the easiest one to do because it's like 16 hours not eating and 8 hours feeding window.
Gotcha. Every day.
Every day, pretty much. Not all the time though. Sometimes. Well, sometimes my time frame changes because normally I eat it from 10 to 6, and then I don't eat after that because I go to bed at 6 sometimes. Usually, because I wake up at 2 a.m. to go to work. Whatever. So,
man's a machine.
Which is good, because, like, for the first 8 hours of the fast, I'm asleep. Because that counts.
Plus, you're crushing caffeine. That helps.
You shouldn't drink caffeine while fasting. Especially, because I like to put creamer in it. Which you can't do if you're fasting. So, I guess it's not necessarily true fast, but I've been told if you keep below 50 calories, it won't bump you out of your catabolic state. Because what you're shooting for is autophagy while awake.
Mm-hmm.
Because autophagy is the process in which your body repairs itself, which usually does when you're asleep. But if you're fasted, it will do that while you're awake until you consume calories.
Okay.
So that's one of the benefits of fasting. So you burn fat throughout the day.
I notice my brain works a little bit better, not when I'm trying too fast, but if I just haven't eaten in a while. Like, let's say, for example, I wake up and I just go straight to work. And I don't eat for like 4 or 5 hours after I'm already awake. Like, I'll wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'll go train. I don't know, the world's falling apart downstairs. But I'll wake up at 4:30, and I'll go and train clients or whatever until about 10:30 or 11, and maybe eat by 11:30. I can tell during that time period, like, after I wake up, obviously, the first 30 minutes of my day, like, I'm more, like, alert. I'm more, like, go, go, go. But after I have that first meal, even though it's not even that big of a meal, it's a couple eggs and some toast, I slow down.
And it has a nootropic effect, from what I've read. It makes you more alert and just increases brain function.
Yeah.
Which just makes me believe that all the food we eat mostly is crap.
It could be. There's some foods, though, like, I feel like, I don't know. I think just the first meal for me is tough. But, like, there's some foods throughout the day, if I keep it light, like easy digesting foods, like either white rice, a little bit of chicken. I don't go heavy on the protein. I might have 4 or 5 ounces per meal or, in a meal sometimes. But, like, if I do, like, white rice, chicken, and I'm not adding a lot of shit to it, like a lot of seasonings and whatever, I feel like I digest it and it's, like, really light. Like, I don't feel like, sluggish. Like, there's some foods, like, if I do beef or, obviously something a little bit more fibrous, oatmeal, brown rice, stuff like that, I tend to slow down a lot. When I was doing, like, a lot of fruit back when I went vegan, dude, I was like rolling all the time. I don't know whether just fruit, just obviously it's sugar, glucose, digests really, really, really quick. I was just able to go.
Is that a fast carb like broccoli? Just just pretty much in and out really fast, as opposed to a heavy carb like rice.
And I don't think with fruit you get like a huge insulin spike. Especially most fruits are kind of fibrous in a way. I had a lot of strawberries, bananas, grapes. So
26 grams of carb per banana.
Yeah, well, the banana I only had one a day, but everything else was strawberries, grapes, and grapes. I was crushing like a pound or 2 of grapes a day.
Sorry, I can't do the vegetarian vegan thing. I need meat.
Well, I love meat, so like I'm back on it. I'm back on that train, you know what I'm saying? But when I did it, I didn't mind it, but I don't. Do I think it's long-term sustainable? No, because maybe I wasn't 100% committed on my diet and training, but I did realize that I wasn't recovering as fast. Or because I did it for over a year, and I continued doing it for a while, and I slowly added like eggs back in, and I slowly started adding chicken and beef back in, and I did notice that like I was recovering quicker when I did add meat back in, meat sources. And I just felt like a little bit more complete once I did add it back in. But there's some days if I do eat a lot of meat, regardless of whatever it is, I do feel yuck and bloated sometimes. But it could just be, me particularly.
I've tried many a diet just to see what it does.
Yeah.
I've intermittent fasting. I did carnivore diet for a little bit, which is...
I don't know if I could do it, man.
Just eat meat all the time?
I don't know if I could do it. I love meat, but I don't know if I could just do that all the time.
I can't afford it.
With that too.
I can't. Cause
Yeah.
I can't eat rabbit all the time. Guess I gotta eat chicken. And just try to eat chicken all day? Jesus. I was like, not fun. Nowadays, I kind of like... I still eat meat and vegetables. Some days I'm just straight vegetarian. Some days I'll mix it up. Mostly though, it's just like mostly vegetables until the end of the day.
Yeah.
Then I start eating meat again. It's like intermittent vegetarianism. Like when I can eat, it's mostly vegetarian stuff. But towards the end of the day, like after I work out, it's meat.
Speaking of like that weird type of having meat at the end of the day or protein sources at the end of the day, the late great Rich Piana, before he died, that's sort of one thing. I watched one of his last videos. I don't know if he switched to it for health reasons or whatever, but he was doing like pretty much vegan all day until the last meal of his day, where he'd crush, I think it was like either 80 grams of protein or 100 grams of protein in that last meal. But throughout the day, he was just doing either pasta with sauce or white rice and sauce with some vegetables, and he was eating like six of those meals, just carbs, and then at the last meal of the day before bed, he'd have like 100 grams of protein of like whether it was steak or chicken. I'm not sure what he did, but he was trying it out, but obviously he died shortly after that. I don't know if it was the diet.
He had a heart attack.
It could have been genetic / drug.
Well, heart attack's not what killed him. They couldn't resuscitate him because he was too massive, so they couldn't get the blood pumping through his body.
Yeah. Well, I mean, indirectly it killed him. For sure.
His general size killed him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure that didn't help.
Too big to resuscitate.
There's no such thing as too big, God damn it.
Unless you have a heart attack and have to be resuscitated.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend who's a firefighter, EMS, and he said a person that size, you can't, like, if they have a heart attack, you can't do chest compressions because their chest cavity is just so massive. You press down, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah,
so
he had a lot of meat.
If you're that big and you have a heart attack, you're probably going to die.
And I feel like even if you were able to compress a chest like his down, it's not coming back up because there's so much weight, pecs, other muscle. That's why a lot of those heavy dudes have sleep apnea. They're just not able to breathe laying on their back or just sleeping at all. They just relax too much and their diaphragm gets crushed and they aren't able to
being 300
breathe.
pounds plus or close to it really is not healthy. It's not good for longevity.
Hell no.
It's like what Eddie Hall retired, not necessarily because he was done, just because he was told he was going to die if he didn't stop.
I feel like you get to the point, and who knows, I feel like there's probably some people that are under 200 that need a sleep apnea machine, but like when it gets to the point where you're like, all right, time to get the sleep apnea, the CPAP machine.
It's not good.
And I don't know if that's like a good sign, but hey, if that's what you love to do, and you got to pay to play, I guess,
It's like, well, I don't want to do steroids simply because it's not worth cutting 20 years off my life just to wrestle.
Well, I guess if you abuse them, maybe.
Pretty sure there's a way to do it without cutting years off your life.
Yeah.
But if there is, I haven't seen somebody do it successfully. Because a lot of them just either they look like crap now and it's hobbling.
Yeah.
Or they're just dead. And that's not my thing.
Do you think, I mean, and this is just me, I'm not an expert on that area at all, but do you think it is a combination of literally, and I don't know, maybe you know more about their schedules, but I heard in one interview, it might have been DDP, but he mentioned that he was wrestling like 200 days out of the year.
A WWE schedule?
Yeah.
It's pretty much year round. From what
So
I've
like you don't get time off, so that's stress built up right there. You don't ever get to recover. And then back in that era, there was probably a lot more partying, beer, drugs, shit to keep you going, like speed, coke. And then, I'm not recovering, so let me go ahead and take some PEDs so I'm actually getting to recover even though I'm not sleeping and I'm partying all the time. So it's like just a cocktail, heart attack cocktail.
Well, that's why you see a lot of the wrestlers from back in that era are dying in their 50s now.
Yeah.
Because they just lived the lifestyle, and a lot of them did drugs to just make it through. Because I guess, well, podcasts I've heard recently, nowadays they get maybe 6 weeks off a year. So it's basically a year
Still ain't shit.
There's no off season for wrestling. It's not like football. It's like,
I never thought about
if
it.
you think about it, after WrestleMania, what do? They go to Monday Night Raw the following Monday, and it just starts over again. There's
Yeah.
no breaks.
Damn, dude.
You get time off if you're hurt,
And that ain't a good thing.
or if you're not on TV. But if you're not
And
on TV, that's
Are you
not great.
you getting paid if you're hurt though? I guess you have contracts where you're probably getting some type of pay.
Yeah, they still get paid,
Yeah. Damn.
but
That's not a good reason to be off though.
you don't want to be hurt though. Because
I'm sure you lose your ranking. Like
you want to be seen.
Yeah, you lose your.
TV time is everything
Yeah.
in wrestling as far as money's concerned. Plus, you've got a shelf life for wrestling. You can't do it forever, so you don't want to waste your time being hurt.
Fuck no. Hell no. So, who's the most famous wrestler? Who's the most memorable wrestler you've met? Have you met any cool ones?
I met Ric Flair once.
Yeah. You give him a woo?
Nah,
No.
I think I met Richard Fleer. This was like before.
Who's that?
That's his real name.
No.
But because this is like not long before he got admitted to the hospital the last time he went.
Mm.
Like, he didn't seem well.
Yeah. Damn. He didn't seem well.
He wasn't Ric.
That's a nice way to say.
He wasn't Ric Flair. Ric Flair. He was like, I don't feel great, Ric Flair. And I was like, oh God, hope he's okay.
Well, I would have never known. Like I said, I call The Rock, Ric Flair. What'd you say his name was?
Richard Fleer.
Richard Fleer. Woo!
Like
Look, I feel like I saw him on social media not too long ago. He looks like he's doing all right. Must have had an operation to unblock something and be back.
Well, it
but-
said in an interview that he's just going to live his life like Ric Flair. So, good or bad thing, that's what he wants to do.
Maybe he's got drugs keeping him alive. But
we aren't living longer. We're just dying slower. Remember that.
yeah, well, you're always dying every day. Don't need to get deep. God dang, Nick.
That's my thing.
Well, so let's take this bad boy down the journey of getting towards our tail end of Sledge. How did you come up with that name?
I didn't come up with it. My best friend, your former boss, Mr. Christopher Keith,
Yep.
Gold's Gym Laburnum, head fitness director back in the day. We were just brainstorming name ideas, and he just stumbled upon that one. It was just Sledge originally,
Yeah.
but then my trainer, Chris Sharp, told me that you need a last name.
Yeah.
Just-
Sledge, like, it doesn't roll.
Just-
Sledge Gibson
Just one name names just don't sound right. Everybody needs a last name.
sounds classy, for real. Like, Sledge by itself sounds like a comic book character, but then you throw Sledge Gibson, it's like, whoa.
We are comic book characters, so.
Well, you are, but at the same time, it's like you're classy, though. It's like, damn, he's got some class.
I've got some class.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I got class. I don't know. I'm just a goof that wrestles and works out all the time. As your new co-host, just kidding.
Dead serious. I don't give a fuck. I got a third mic right here. It's wireless. I can hook it up. Get you out here.
I'll be your Encima.
But, yeah. So Sledge Gibson obviously came from some outside influence, Chris and your trainer. So from there, how do you go about picking, like, your style of wrestling? Like, how did you know, like, this is going to be my gig, this is going to be my act, the L train? How did that all come to about?
Well, the L train came up like a month ago, but as far as how I wrestle,
Yeah.
that's just something you put together over time based on your body type and what you can do physically. Like, yeah, some people do high flying stuff, moonsaults, big flips, and all that good stuff. I'm not much of a flipper. I do flips, but they're like those weird assisted flips, like off people's bodies and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I'm six. For those who don't know, I'm 6'4", for one.
Dude is tall as shit.
But I also look built, so the way I have to wrestle like a big guy, even though I have body dysmorphia like anybody else who just works out, so I feel small all the time. So I got to wrestle like a big guy. Problem is, I like to do stuff that small guys
Small
do.
guy stuff.
So I like to do athletic stuff. So I try to find a way to mix it in and have it still make sense, because wrestling is just telling a story.
For
So
sure.
it still has to make sense. Because people, when they're watching it, their brains are still trying to make sense of what they're seeing. So their brains are putting stuff together. So they're seeing stuff that makes no sense. They won't do it. Like if I get tackled by a guy who's 5'2", 135, and I fall down, it makes no sense logically.
No.
It shouldn't work.
Now you take that shit like a brick wall.
Yeah, pretty much. You gotta do stuff like that. So it's got to make sense. So my actual wrestling style developed over the last 2.5 years. It's a combination of, I guess, powerhouse moves and athleticism,
Yeah.
which shows itself depending on who I'm wrestling. Like if I'm wrestling a guy my height, which happens rarely, I get to do more athletic stuff as opposed to somebody smaller than me. I do more big man type stuff,
Oh, for sure. They're like a little toy.
basically.
Yeah. So when you're wrestling, I'm sure it depends on like, you know, somebody's experience. You know, if they're like a noob per se. Like I'm sure it's tough if you're going to a new show, like one that you haven't done before, and you're wrestling a stranger. That's obviously a case, right? You're going to like a new promotion in New York per se. There's going to be wrestlers there that you might wrestle that you don't know.
Yeah, all the time.
So you need to be able to be fluid while you're wrestling them. Like you might get a chance to talk to them, shoot the shit a little bit before the match, but y'all aren't like really play by play going down saying, all right, this is going to be the first move. Maybe that might be the case for that, but like after that, everything's like on the fly, like you said, sort of like a art performance, you know?
Depends on who you're working with.
Yeah.
Some people will lay out the entire match beforehand, start to finish.
Fuck.
Some people, well, what's known as spots or sequences,
Yeah.
you'll lay those out specifically that you want to do. Some people will do what is known as running call, which is just calling everything on the fly.
And nobody hears it?
Oh no, it's the one.
The leg's coming!
I realized, well, stuff like that, if you're separated, you can use the referee for that. But I realized a while back that sound does not travel down. And if you're elevated in a ring, they're not going to hear you.
I guess you're right, though. And there's a lot of noise already going on from the mats or, you know, the ring. You know, the audience probably talking and, you know, probably, you know, making noises and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, so it's really easy to disguise the fact that you're talking. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have long hair, so I have to work at disguising myself when I'm talking, but
I'm sure, like, when you're down, like, almost like a hold down on the floor, like, you're probably talking to each other, or maybe like a headlock, y'all are, like, maybe talking and shit like that.
oh, if you ever see somebody turn their head, it's because they're talking.
Yeah, gotcha. Damn. I never thought, like, now that I'm thinking a little bit deeper, it's probably a lot of conversating going on.
I'm not trying to remove the veil of wrestling, but I think everybody knows it's I won't say fake, because it's not fake.
No,
It
I don't
does
believe
hurt.
it's fake at all. It's pretty technical,
It's
actually.
predetermined, but it's not fake. You can't fake hitting the
I
ground.
do respect, you know, after I watch a lot of your videos, especially your training videos, you know, you doing flips off of ropes or flipping over a guy or doing some of the, like when you jumped off, I think the top rope onto some shit, like clothesline some dudes. That was a big ass move.
That's fun stuff.
Yo, like that takes some balls. First off, balls.
Balls.
Second off, you got to learn how to like land that without blowing your shit out.
Most of wrestling training is just learning how to work without hurting yourself. Goal is to protect yourself and the person you're wrestling,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Well, obviously you first, and then if you have a chance, think about your guy that you're about to
Well,
drop.
you don't want to hurt anybody, for one.
Yeah,
but you
for
should
sure.
definitely be able to, because it's independent wrestling in indies, you just don't know who you're working with. So
Yeah.
if you know how to protect yourself, you'll be fine in case they just happen to not really be trained at all.
Yeah.
Which can happen, because people do get booked, because no one bothers to look up whether or not they've been trained or not.
Oh, yeah, God. I bet you can show up and next thing you know, like, you ever been in a match where it starts and you're like, damn, this isn't going to go good. Like, you just, like, know y'all aren't vibing. Like, I'm sure you get in and there's some people where you feel like, oh, this is smooth. This is like butter. But then there's some people you might work with and like, damn, I'm going to have to, like, really force this out and, like, really, like, almost be the lead.
And we'll have, because you don't have chemistry with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not good enough yet to where I can just have a good match with everybody I wrestle. That's just a thing. That comes with experience. You can just
Yeah.
get really good at that. So I don't necessarily have chemistry with everybody I wrestle. Especially for the first time.
Yeah.
Because then you don't really know what they do.
For sure.
Because if you just show up and then you're like, oh, you're wrestling such and such. Oh, like, ain't like I had any time to look them up beforehand and see if they have any matches on YouTube so I can get a general idea of what they like to do.
Yep.
Which is what I will do if I know who I'm wrestling. I just look them up to see what they do so I can get a general feel for them, which
Yeah.
helps. But a lot of the time, if I'm wrestling somebody for the first time, it maybe not be the cleanest thing in the world. we get through it.
It definitely comes as like, practice. I feel like the more experience you have with anything, I feel like you're able to like be more on the fly with it.
Oh yeah, it's just repetitions, man.
All day. Well, going from that, let's ask the question everybody wants to know.
What is that?
When a match starts, do you know who's already winning?
Not always.
Not always, okay.
Because it is subject to change.
Yeah.
During the match. So,
well, getting back, we just want to clarify, wrestling is a performance and an art. So some things are already predetermined. But that is always grew up wondering, man, do they know who's going to win this? Is it really that rigged all the time?
In general, you will know who's winning, if you're winning or not, before you go out there. But all that is subject to change. Especially like in WWE, since they have earpieces, so they can really just tell the ref to just change stuff. But as far as independent wrestling, it's pretty much set who's going to win unless something major happens. Like somebody gets injured mid-match, and it's like, well, he can't finish this. So you just kind of pin the guy.
And what happens, happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. It's wrestling.
So moving from that, one last question I had on top of my head is when, obviously Richmond has a pretty big show that comes through pretty often. Monday night, right? Monday nights when it comes through Raw.
On occasion, yes. When the Coliseum's closed, so they're going to be in Hampton now.
Oh, gay?
Well, no.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's just cool when they come through Richmond because usually you see them at the gyms training and whatnot around Richmond.
Yeah, now they'll be in Hampton until the Coliseum gets rebuilt.
Are they redoing that now?
I think so.
Damn. I didn't know if they got that approved. I remember they were talking about that. They're talking about doing that and the baseball field, the Richmond Squirrels. Which baseball's dying. It's dead, man.
Nah.
I just go out there to drink beers and eat peanuts. That's it.
It's doing okay. Problem is, I don't know. Baseball's only fun to go in person. I can't watch it on TV.
Yeah, it's way too long of a game. It needs to be way shorter.
We keep just traipsing off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, anyways, so when they come to Hampton, are you going to try and be like, yo, do y'all need any spots filled? Is there ever an opportunity to walk on or be like, hey, this is what I am, this is what I do, y'all got any spots, can I help out?
They have a website for that.
Yeah.
They have a WWE has an extra talents page you can sign up for. So basically, if you fit a role, you send them pictures, your back history, your physicals, well, as far as what you look like and all that crap. And if they have a spot that you could fill for a need they have on a particular show, they can give you a call.
Yeah.
Basically just an extra.
For sure. And that might not just be in Richmond. That could be anywhere. They just get you out there real quick for that one particular show and shoot you back.
Oh, yeah, they got a laundry list of independent wrestlers that signed up for it.
Shit.
If you fit a role they might have that hits you up.
And that's when it really plays. If you know somebody, they could give you a look out and be like, yo, check out my man. We got this spot that needs to be filled.
Yeah, those extra roles are usually preceded with a tryout. So they do have you actually wrestle to get on the show.
Yeah.
Whether you're actually going to be in a wrestling capacity or not, they still try you out.
That's pretty sick, though. Because, I feel like there's not that many opportunities with other, professional sports like that. I definitely consider it a sport. Something you definitely have to have. Not everybody can do it. But, like a walk-on type thing or be able to, get in that easily, even though it's not easy.
Wrestling.
Get in that easy.
Get into wrestling? Oh, it's easy now. Back in the day, you had to know somebody to start wrestling. Nowadays, they have schools.
Yeah.
You can message a promoter and get booked, just not being trained sometimes, which I guess does happen. Which isn't a good thing.
Yeah. So what's the end goal, man? Where are we trying to get? What federation are you trying to pop off with?
Federation, nothing specifically. I just
You want to be able to just.
I want to make wrestling my primary source of income. That's pretty much what that is.
Yeah. Obviously, there's goals, and everybody asks the same thing about GYMFLO, and they're like, oh, what's your goal with GYMFLO? Just to be able to make my living off of it. And obviously, once you get to that goal, if you're a true, goal setter or just, I don't want to say entrepreneur, because I feel like wrestling could be that. It's your own brand, it's your own business, but, once you get to that goal, you always want something bigger. So there's, your goals should always be evolving once you hit those. So obviously making it your income and then obviously dialing in from there, being like, all right, well, I want to pursue this. Then after wrestling's over, all right, well, maybe I'll pursue acting or fucking whatever the fuck.
acting.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
probably just do graphic design.
Or that too, whatever. Or you could just be like helping the back end of wrestling, you know? Pro.
I already like doing production stuff. I help
Yeah.
produce podcasts, and I also make posters for Mr. Chris Keith and his promotion.
Oh yeah, and so and like I said, all the social media and content and videos that Nick is with, we're gonna throw that in the description below or caption below, so you can check it out. And
Shameless
follow more.
plug.
Yeah, follow more about him, man. I'm all about it, dude. All about it. Especially you out there getting it. Well, last thing, when I ask, what are obviously I asked about your federation and what's the end goal with that, but what's your main goal, like your top 1 to 3 goals for 2020? Your big scary goals, like
My big scary goals.
that you're like, man, I don't even know if I want to put it out there.
I want to get into OVW. That's Ohio Valley Wrestling. That's in
Okay.
Kentucky. I want to get 215 pounds,
Okay, got some work.
which is a goal.
Yeah.
And the third one, man, make some merch.
Dude, finally, dude. Well, you got to hear little bits here and there, but like,
I need to produce some
you
merch
need
to
the L
sell.
finger, dude, the L foam finger.
Because like any other grind of an entertainment industry, like comedy or wrestling, it's odds are you're losing money on every show, unless you're selling merch.
For sure.
In which case you make that up. I don't have any merch because I haven't made any. Not necessarily because I didn't want to, but I was trying to get myself to a point where I feel like I was marketable.
Oh, dude, you're there.
Am I good at wrestling?
Yeah,
Do people care? Okay, I'm gonna make some stuff now.
I definitely think so. And you don't know, and obviously until you do it. So obviously you don't go deep on it, but just make something simple, throw it out there. I definitely think if you could get like a little table set up or something like that. I'm sure you already have something or done something. I feel like you talked about that before, but setting up a little something, little shop, pop-up shop at these shows, maybe sell a little something.
Good old merch table.
Yeah, dude. I feel like if you set up like a shop attitude or vibe, people get into that shop atmosphere and that shop mentality and like, shit, I'm going to buy something.
I have ideas. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why we got goals, man.
Goals.
Goals. Well, Nick, that is it for this one, man. We're going to go ahead and cut it right here because it's about bedtime for you. Got an early morning with the old full-time gig.
So I have a coffee machine. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I just listen to podcasts all day.
What blood type? Blood type is
I'm O negative.
O negative.
I'm a universal donor, but I can only take plasma from O negative people.
Well, I was about to say it's probably coffee.
Oh, talking about coffee. I was
Yeah.
just going with science.
No, well, thanks, man. Well, anyways, guys, that's it for this episode. If you want to know anything more about Nick Sledge Gibson, give him a shout on his Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to throw it all there in the captions. And, yeah, until next time, y'all.